Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing something that I'm really excited about doing, which is a video on 6 things I would like to see in the 9th Doctor adventure series from Big Finish. So this is me going over what I would like to see in the Big Finish audio adventures for the 9th Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston. And that being said, that means that I'm wanting to see what I want. I'm trying to say that this is going over the 4 box sets. Because the first one's coming out this year, and so that means that if there's one a year, then that'll take us up to 2024, which is kind of insane. And the cover for the first one has been revealed, and it looks pretty freaking cool. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so these are the 6 things that I want, or I would really like to see even, here, I suppose, on audio. First one being Cybermen. Obviously the 9th Doctor never had a Cyberman story. He had really good Dalek stories. That's great, that's fine. I am more of a fan of, the Daleks over the Cybermen. So, I think for everyone who's more a fan of Cybermen than Daleks, then I think it's only fair that they get what they want, and also the fact that, we do kind of see a Cyberman head in Henry Van Statten's, basement of weird fun, but, that must have been, such a sort of, tickling people's balls, basically, moment of, for Cybermen fans. And even though it was never explicitly said, those were, the ones that the 9th Doctor actually saw, the Revenge of the Cybermen ones, I would like that to be the case. That design of Cybermen. Because of that episode, because of Dalek, weirdly enough, I am very much nostalgic for that design of Cybermen. Weirdly enough, even though Revenge of the Cybermen is not an episode I really, really like. I think it's just a sort of average, middling episode. But for whatever weird reason, I do quite like that design. I don't know why. I know that most people say that it's bad, understandably. I get where people are coming from with that sort of criticism and point, but as I say, maybe it's just because of the Dalek, I don't know. And also, maybe you could mention about, it could be a story set / specifically around the Cyber Wars, maybe, I know that obviously sort of series 12 kind of very much delved into that quite a bit, and that, which is really interesting, because up until this point I think it's not really majorly mentioned a lot in Doctor Who, in the sort of TV version. In Expanded Universe, yes, but also if we're not going to get Daleks, which I'd be fine with, I would like no Daleks in any of these box sets. I'd be fine with that, because again, I think Dalek Parting of the Ways, or Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways, are sublime, superb Dalek stories. Some of the top tier, best Dalek stories in my opinion. That, as I say, I'd not want anything to sort of tarnish that, or try and even get close to that, and as I say, be less than those episodes. So Cyber Wars, you could do that. I mean, Cyber Wars are mentioned sort of in Expanded Universe mainly, and also it's never very clear if the Cybermen were even in the Time War. So if not, then maybe it could be its own thing, like the Cyber War sort of thing. And in the Titan comics, in one issue, I think the Cybermen are designed like the Revenge of the Cybermen ones, and they can kind of hover or have jetpacks, or on their boots or whatever, or sort of fly for a bit, or kind of like zombies out of space, or space zombies but mechanical space zombies. I don't know, but it was kind of cool and weird and bonkers, and yeah, Cybermen, please do something with them. Get on it, Big Finish. Second thing would definitely be the Master. In particular, Derek Jacobi, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this, but I get the feeling that Christopher Eccleston and Derek Jacobi probably have been in a play or two before with each other, and so I think having them both already know each other potentially and have a repertoire, a sort of rapport with each other even, and that. And I know what you're gonna say again in Dalek. My God, Dalek is a very jam-packed episode. He mentions at the end, you know, with Rose, like, oh no, if there was anyone else out there, of my any of my people out there, I'd know in here. And then because he says that, it's very much implied that the Master isn't a thing, and that he can't notice the Master or doesn't know the Master is out there. Although obviously, in retrospect, thinking about it right now, the Chameleon Arch, that's why he would have probably not known. But the reason why I bring up Dalek is because I know someone's going to bring up in the comments like, oh, but you know, this would, you know, be a continuity error and and that then the Ninth Doctor would know about the Master and that'd fuck up Dalek. But I mean, my contingency plan there is mind wipe him. You know, at the end of that story, mind wipe him. You know, because it works for the Eighth Doctor. He gets mind wiped every other couple of stories. No one seems to care then or care about that. So again, if it works for McGann, I think it can work for Eccleston. And as I say, I think Derek Jacobi is very good as the Master from what I've heard everyone else say. I haven't really experienced his Master a lot, only in like the TV show and one Big Finish audio. But I think just generally having them two spar off each other would be the closest we'd ever have to like John Hurt's War Doctor and Derek Jacobi's War Master. You know, the next best thing, in my humble opinion, would be having Eccleston after the war, having to see and or hear the Master and just having him wreak havoc and destroy what he considers ants, and then have the Ninth Doctor have his heart be blackened by the fact that, you know, I've had to deal with the Cybermen, I've had to deal with the Daleks, or the Cybermen in particular, and then now you know, you're killing innocent lives, and this is not on, this is not okay, we should be better, our people should be better, sort of thing. And that, and just, yeah, you'd really get the rage out of him then. Number 3, probably quite a controversial one, is the Slitheen. I would really love the Slitheen. I think at some point in an episode or two, or a bit of an episode, or just, I need the Slitheen in the series. I really do, because, you know, other than the Daleks and the Empty Child, I think this the second/third most synonymous thing with the that first series is probably the Slitheen. Synonymous either for good or for bad is up to debate and or, you know, up for discussion. I find it fascinating because, like, when it comes to the Slitheen, I don't think I've ever seen anyone be indifferent / just sort of null and void and sort of indifferent about them, i.e. just go, Slitheen, they're alright, I guess, just sort of like meh them. You know, I either see people be like, they're shit because they fart, or they're great because I was a kid and they skin people and they fart, and that's pretty funny as a kid. You know, and I think I'm in, obviously, the positive one. You know, I think the thing that I love about them that's so ingenious is that they're Russell T Davies's version of the Silence, and by that I mean, or Moffat's version of the Slitheen would be the Silence, whichever way you want to go about that. Because the thing is, the Slitheen are sort of that stereotypical what we as a species collectively kind of think. You think alien, you think sort of the bulbous head of like the Silence and that sort of 1950s, 60s sort of American sort of Area 51 sort of thing. But on the other side, you could think green, big-eyed, bulbous sort of eyes like E.T., green usually, and quite sort of ferocious potentially as well, sort of alien-esque. You know, there's a bit of a xenomorph-ish sort of design there with the big claws, I think. Farting aside, and I think by Boomtown they kind of fart less anyway. Granted, there is only one, so it'd be a bit unnerving if the one Slitheen kind of made up for the rest of the family farting Slitheen and farted as much as said family of Slitheen. But yeah, I think they should be in this series at some point. Number 4, I think, is a baddie from Series 1 that is maybe lower on the tier, so sort of not Daleks, not Empty Child, but maybe higher than the previous one, potentially, because they don't fart, which are the Reapers. I think it'd be great if we had for lack of a better term, a Stephen Moffat-y, timey-wimey episode where, time's going a bit skew-if, going a bit sideways, and I think really early monthly range, experimental sort of story, and then the Reapers show up. I know they were in the Four Doctors, I think it was, comic by Paul Cornell, and I know they're in Series 1, but other than that, I really don't think they're in the series that much, and I think they're brilliantly designed. I love the fact that we barely see them, and then they are revealed partway through, because that kind of feels very classic Doctor Who. What else? I love the design. I love the fact that they're not inherently malicious. They're basically serving a purpose, like an animal almost, They're more like an animal than they are an alien almost, because the Doctor even says in Father's Day, all they're doing is sort of sterilising the wound in time. They're just serving a purpose / function, and that's about it, And as I say, I think having them back again in audio and in audio would work because, you wouldn't have to CG them, and also, again, you could really sort of play up this idea that the Doctor's trying to do something good, and then maybe it goes wrong, and then, or maybe the companion fucks up, whoever the companion might be, or this could be a solo adventure, he fucks up, and then, as I say, the Reapers come, and then it's like him having to sort of almost negotiate with like a very animalistic sort of creature, and in doing so, maybe, for lack of a better term, he has to find his humanity in a universe where everything, as I say, is very sideways / upside down, like in Stranger Things. Like the upside down. I don't know, could be a cool idea. Number 5, Captain Jack. I would really love John Barrowman to be in any of the box sets. For half a box set, all 3 episodes of a box set. I keep forgetting that it's not 4 episodes per box set, it's 3, unfortunately, or only 3, unfortunately, but I think I agree completely with Billy Garrett John and Matthew Toffolo from Review of Death. They made a very, very apt comment about how Captain Jack is basically the new series version of the Brigadier, and I've kind of wanted to say that for a while, but being a bit scared of the fans, I guess, or the classic Who fans who might take that out of context and get really annoyed. But I mean that in a very sincere, very nice way. That's my generation's version of a very beloved classic series character that, as I say, Russell T Davies / Stephen Moffat were very much, two brilliant minds combined kind of made, as I say, like a brilliant new version of a character that we all loved from the classic series for a new generation. You can, basically, they said, the point they made is that you could put Captain Jack's John Barrowman, or John Barrowman's Captain Jack, even, in any series, or in any era / or with any Doctor, and it'd work, I could agree, I could say that with the new series, maybe I don't know about the classic series as much, but definitely with new series. And as I say, I think he's in quite a few of the Titan comic issues. He was in obviously the second half of series 1, but I think it'd be really cool to see him in this. And again, continuity wise, you could just easily be like, well, he's a time agent, it could be a different version, it could be the older version. That's why he sounds different or looks different. Although on audio he could still be very young. And also the vortex manipulator on his wrist. Again, you could just be like, oh, Doc, you look different. I thought you'd have long brown hair, or longish brown spiky hair, and that. And it could be, as I say, like a sort of Captain Jack from that time period, maybe, you know, from Torchwood / you know, sort of the future for the Doctor. That could be quite interesting. And that 6, I've kind of cheated with this last one, but you know, it's my list, so. But I really want them to retain the humour of the Ninth Doctor. I know a lot of people say, or have come out of the woodworks over the years to critique / criticise Eccleston's like humorous parts, and that he doesn't do humour well. I just don't think he's often given humour. Maybe because of the way that he looks, or because of, you know, the sort of somewhat tallish, you know, northern bloke sort of thing that he is, type of character that he is. You know, but in Atypical, he does a lot of humour in that, and he is very humorous in that. And I think in Series 1, something that is very often forgotten is that there are speckles / freckles of Eccleston humour, you know, which I know I've always championed and or said that I like the Doctor being alien, but in this moment, or with this sort of characteristic, it makes the Doctor human, you know, and a bit more relatable, or opens up him as a character a bit, or lets him release a bit of that, you know, rage and tension and loss, you know, via humour, I think, you know. You could see it that way, and as I say, I think Eccleston is quite humorous in Atypical, not Atypical, A-Word, sorry, and yeah, so I think having that here and there sprinkled within every audio story here and there, as I say, would be nice, you know, and it'd be nice because it'd contrast him being, you know, very serious or dour and dark and that. And I know more people would probably want that from the Ninth Doctor, but I think having that all of the time would be a bit much. Because I do think by the second half of Series 1, you can almost see him change, you know, or start to change, you know, as there's more people around him. He has more of a, for lack of a better term, a sort of support network. And then the other thing I had written down as my 6th thing, as a bit of a cheat, is some Time War references. Obviously, the Ninth Doctor, the PTSD Doctor, renowned for being the one who very much brought up the whole Time War thing, and it was invented around this era, and it's extremely synonymous with this era, and I think if they never mention it, I'd be disappointed. It might not be the worst thing ever, but as I say, I would be kind of disappointed. But by the same token, I don't want them to mention it every other episode and have every other episode be like, you know, random episode about a spooky ghost on a spaceship, and that being a weird time slip thing, or going through time and that. And then he just randomly goes like, oh, this reminds me of the Time War, when this and this happened. I don't want that all of the time. But as I say, if you could make a loose connection to the Time War, every at least maybe one episode, every box set, it wouldn't hurt, you know, maybe, or as I say, like in Series 1, the baddies mention quite a lot, you know, like the Gelth and some of the baddies mention about, you know, we were, you know, sort of pawns in the Time War, we were, you know, taken captive by the Time War sort of thing. That would be cool, you know, or just, I don't know, just really get inventive with setting some stories maybe in the Time War, maybe not, you know, but then by the same token, then it's like, you have to have Daleks. You don't have to. I mean, again, you could have, potentially, this could be an alternative version of the Time War where the Ninth Doctor, weirdly enough, slips back into the Time War where the Cybermen are fighting against the Time Lords and that, you know, as opposed to the Daleks, and that's the big sort of, I don't know, two-story thing or theme of one box set, or sort of somewhat, you know, sort of a thing in a story. I don't know, but yeah, these are just my ideas for the Ninth Doctor Big Finish audio adventures. I'm very ecstatic that Eccleston is back. Never thought this would happen. I mean, yeah, I'm over the moon about it. If I could just tell my 7-8-year-old self that he'd someday be back in some form or fashion, I think my head would have exploded. But yeah, thanks for watching, and please do comment below your thoughts on what you would like to see in the Ninth Doctor Big Finish audios. I'd be really interested to hear that in the comment section below. Please do subscribe. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.